Welcome back. In this lesson, we are going how you can program the decryption software, which will decrypt the file that we encrypted. Let's look at this file encrypted. For example, Evil Twin Attack folder. Let's open this folder. Here you will notice that all these files in this folder encrypted and the operating system unable to open this file. And here's a message which will tell us your data has been encrypted. You should pay $999 to the following PayPal account. If you infected by ransomware, before you will notice that this message will created in each folder in your operating system to ask you about the instruction you follow to get the decryption software that will return your file to the original form. Okay. First, we will import the required library from cryptography.fernet. We will import the fernet module. And also we will import the time library and import the OS module. After this, you need to type the fernet key. Fernet key. This fernet key like this. Let's get the fernet key. We should use the same key in the encryption process. So you should go to the encryption file and get the same key. Sorry, I put the file in C here. Okay, in new folder you have this folder and you have encryption. Open with Notepad. You should take the same key and put it there. Let's close this file. And replace this by the key. Okay. After this, you need to create two arrays. The first array called array and equal an empty list. This list for the file's names, to store the file names. And we also need to create another list, which is the P list, to store the folder's names. Folders. Okay, after this we will convey to the function that will list all the partitions in your device to decrypt this partition. So get the partitions names. We type here diff and partition. Here in this function we will make a for loop or all partition names in range of 65 to 90, and we explained before why we type those two numbers. We create a variable called p. This variable has a character chr, and take the p from the for loop. We can type here in, for example, and type here in to make it different from this variable. Okay, we plus to this character this string to complete the partition path. Let's print this p on each operation, because the for loop will loop through all this letter and see the result. Partitions. Okay, here you have all the the letters in English, followed by this string variable, and the second slash is eliminated because two double slash print only one slash. But we not need all these letters. We only need the letters that exist in your hard disk, the letters of partitions that exist in your hard disk. Let's see this partitions names. Okay, we only need the C and D and E letters because we have three partitions, and this partition doesn't work because it does not have the drive. Okay. So we need to test if this partition names it exists. So we use the os.bus.exist and both this p to this function. If the result is a true, it means that this partition name exists in your computer. So we will add this partition name to the p list. Append the in. Let's run again. You doesn't see anything because the print part is eliminated. Let's print the v list after run the function. Here you will notice that this list have three letters, which is 67 and 68 and 69, and those letters are the letters of the partitions in our program. Here we need to add the bus of the partition. Here we add the number of partition. Now we need to see the letters of partition. Let's run. Here you have a C partition C and D and E, and those are their bodies. Okay. Let's eliminate the print and also close this and complete the code. Let's put a comment in here that indicate this the call of the partition. This is the partition function call. As we told before, we need to exit the C partition from the decryption process, because the files in C partition doesn't encrypt, because it has a function, it has a files that need the administrator permission and this file will cause a problem in the encryption and decryption processes, so we reject the C partition from the decryption process. I type here reject the C partition from the decryption process. Rejecting the C partition from the decryption process means eliminating this C partition from the B list, not to remove. What we need to remove? We need to remove C capital double point // which is the name of C partition. Let's print the B list again and see the content of this list. It shouldn't have the C partition. Okay, here is the B list, and the C partition doesn't exist in this list because we eliminate this partition from the C. Let's complete the code. Let's create the decryption function. Decryption function. We type here def and decrypt underscore function. This is the name of the decryption function. This function take two parameters: the cipher text, which is the name or the encrypted name of the file. We call it cipher text. And also take the time at which this text or this file name encrypted text has been encrypted. So the time when this text encrypted time. Here we create a variable that called encrypted text to store the text after decrypting it. It consists of fernet and pass the name of the key for the decryption process, and here decrypted at time, and this function takes as three parameters. First is the text we wanted to decrypt, and second a variable called ttl, which will take the time of the encryption, which is combined with the file name. And the third variable is variable called count time, and count time we can find from the time module, from function time in the time module. Okay, the text, I'm sorry, I forgot something. Here you should type the text encoded, because this function take only the encoded text to decrypt it. Here is the text after decryption should be decoded after the decryption process, because the decryption needs the text encoded and the text out from this function is decoded, is encoded. So we need to decode it. Let's see what is the meaning of encode and decode. Here we will print the decrypted text, and here we will see the decrypted one to see the difference between encode and decode process. Let's run the decryption function process and pass it any file path or any file name from this file that has been I'm sorry. Let's get any file name from the file that has been encrypted, only to see what encode and decode mean. Go to the D and in file introduction, and only take one of the file's names and go to the partion. We will put the file name like this and the time of the encryption as a prompt. Let's run to see the result. Because this is text, we should put here single or double quotation. Let's run again. Okay, there's a problem. After completing the code, we will see the difference between decoded and encoded. But for your information, the text, the encoded text is the text start by P and simple quotation, and the text write within those single quotation. Decoding the code is return this code to original form, which means eliminating the single quotation and the B character. Okay. For this, we need to return the text after decrypt, which is the decrypt 1. This convey to the walk function. Walk function to walk through the partition from this name and decrypt all files inside this partition. Walk through all folder in each partition. We type here diff and here walk function. This walk take a parameter, we called it I, and for loop D and SD, and if in OS dot walk and pass it the I parameter. We told before that D is the main path of each file, which is the path of folder containing this file. So if we have folder and files in this folder, D is the path of the folder, which we call it in programming the main path of the file, because it's the part of the path before the file name, and if is all files names in this main path. We print here D to see what D mean, and we try create a try and exit. We try to remove the important file, because there is some folder that doesn't have the important file, so we need to try. If the important file exists, delete it. If doesn't exist, there is no problem. Skip this step, accept, and if the file is not exist, continue, which means skip this folder. Type here print and type that important file is not exist. Let's type here exist is appropriate. This loop through all files names in the folder. This for loop has a parameter called file name, and it loops through all files names inside list called file. We create a variable called the new file name, or the file name after adding a string to it. The new file name is consisted from the file name and split it from the part ransomware. Here, as we said, we have the file name. Let's take a look to the file name. Here you have the file name, and as we encrypted, the file name is consist from 3 parts. The first part is the file name encrypted, and the second part is .ransomware, and the third part is the time of the encryption. Okay, file name from this to the beginning, and .ransomware, and this is from 166.176.4392 is the time of the encryption. Okay, we split this file name from .ransomware. The split function gives us a list of 2 parameters. First is the file name, and second is the time of encryption, which means it split the file name from .ransomware and give us the part before ransomware and the part after ransomware. Let's print and see the result of the new file name. But we need to complete the code. We create another try. This is try to decrypt the file, because there is a hidden file which hasn't been encrypted, so we need to skip those files, and we only want to decrypt the file which has been encrypted. So we create here a try. You should create a variable to store the file name after decryption. Decryption file name. It has a file name call here the decryption function. It takes two parameters. First is the the encrypted file name, and second is the time of the encryption. Because this list, which is a new file name, has two parameters. First is the file name, so we should order this to the first item and this to the second item. After completing the code, you will see the difference between them, except, and here is continue part. After this, I want you to see the decrypted file name after decrypting it. Here, as we studied before, we need to rename the file by the original file name after decrypting it. So we type the old full path, and the old full path is consisted from os.path dot join to combine two parts of both and give us full path. The first is the main path of the file, and second is the file name. We need to print the old full path and to see what it means. And also we need the new path, the new full path, which is also os dot path dot join the main path and the file name after decrypting it. We create here a try to rename the function. Because the process of renaming the function has some error, we create here a try and accept the old full path and the new full path. And if this process doesn't happen well, you have here accept to continue. After this, we will loop through all partition names by 4 in the p list, which contain the partitions names, and call it the walk function and give it the partition name. We should post this part of code inside the main underscore main underscore. Okay. After running this code, the files in the partition D should be decrypted. Let's see this file after decrypting it. Here is the file encrypted, and there is an important text which has the message of the hacker. Running the decryption Python file should encrypt all these files and eliminate this message. Let's run and see the result. Let's refresh. our code doesn't work well. Why? Let's see. Here you have the file names. Well, okay, there's a problem. With this problem, let's go with the code line by line and see with the problem. Okay. Let's first, okay, let's go with the code line by line. Important file is exist in each file, in each folder in the system. So you should pass the main path of important file, which is the main path of all folders, to delete this file. We should format and put the D here. We also need the time, because file name give us the time as a string. We need this time as integer, so we convert this time to integer. We have the old full path, and the new full path. Don't accept to rename the file. Okay, let's run this code again. Let's see the files before the decryption process, and run the code again. Let's put the R letters here and run again. Here you will notice that the important file has been removed from all folders, but the problem that our file doesn't rename again, and this means that this code has been executed, but the remain of the code doesn't execute. Let's see why. Here is not the file name. I'm sorry, this is not the file name. This is the new file name, which is the list. I'm sorry for this big error. I think this what caused the problem. Let's run. Okay, here's your file. Return to the original form. Let's open one of them. To see, and also go to the other file until this video opens. Let's see this. Okay, here your file's names return to the original form, and just wait until this video. Okay, this video opens, and our QCube layer can identify this file and open it. By this, we have reached to the end of our lesson. To see you in the next lesson. Welcome back. In this lesson,